Do you remember when we first decided to have our surgeries and the doctor said, hey, you're going to have to be on liquids for a while?
Oh my gosh, I was so scared.
That
was
kind of
nerve-wracking.
Yeah.
It was nerve-wracking because first we had to be on the liquid diet prior to, and now some doctors actually put their patients, we didn't, but some doctors put their patients on a clear liquid diet before, and then they're also on a clear liquid diet after as well. So,
well, you know why they do that.
No.
It's to reduce the size of the liver and the pancreas so that when they put the laparoscope in, that it's less invasive.
Oh, okay. Well, that makes sense.
Yeah, it reduces the size. And the thing is, the metabolic diet that they gave us that was the prepackaged was so nasty. Really nasty.
Well, it was better than some. I have to admit that. It was better than some of those out there, but there are some that are just really grainy and
they did tell us that we could add things to it. Mm-hmm. We could add flavorings, and as long as we weren't changing, by adding any solid to it or ice cream, things like that. So
and the interesting thing is with the clear liquids, there are some people that are on them. I mean, of course, we were on for 24 hours after surgery, but I've heard of patients that were actually on clear liquids for up to a month after.
Yeah.
And man, it can get kind of tedious.
Especially, the people who have the more invasive surgeries have to have more liquid.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that would really be painful. I think, though, that now they've done this long enough, starting with the lap band and they've done the Roux-en-Y and they've done the bypass for so many years that they're learning that they can be less painful to the patients.
Right.
Of course, the larger we are, the more room they want in there to work. So, they're going to give you a little bit stricter guidelines. The good thing is that after the surgeries, there's so many things you can do to make it taste better. Mm-hmm. And even when Adrienne, my daughter-in-law, had the esophageal surgery, which had nothing to do with weight loss.
Right.
She was on the liquid diet, the very same that we were, but her doctor did not explain to her why. So when I got there, I was able to explain to her why she needed to be doing these things, and it helped her get her protein levels up because she was 5'9" and weighed 109 pounds.
Yeah.
And so she was having surgery to be able to keep food down.
Right.
Even though bariatric surgery, we always think of weight loss, there's a lot of other surgeries out there that what we're talking about is very valuable for them.
Yeah. And they all go back to, the first few weeks after surgery, you're on clear liquids.
That's right.
Clear liquids. And I think it's important, too, for people to understand there's a difference because you have the clear liquids and you have full liquids. And clear liquid and full liquid are two totally separate diets. Like a clear liquid diet, you're basically on broths and gelatins and water, Crystal Light, things like that. And there are some doctors that actually, I didn't know this until recently, but there are some doctors that actually allow protein drinks on regular protein drinks on the clear liquid diet.
We were on a liquid diet.
Right.
Where
that comes
we
later.
but even before the surgery, because we had the protein supplement.
Right.
That was not a clear liquid diet.
Right.
And we did not have but about 3 days of real clear liquids.
Well,
I think maybe a week.
No, we didn't even have that much because we were on clear liquids from in the hospital, or at least I was.
Yeah.
At least I was. And then from there, we're straight. When we got home, we were on full liquids.
Right.
From there. But there are people that are on clear liquids from like 2 weeks before to sometimes 2 to 3 weeks after. What I love, though, was the fact that it could have gotten boring, but it doesn't really have to get boring, because nowadays you have so many different things that you can do. You can do the flavored broths now. And I've even seen recipes now recipes are coming back for aspic. Do you remember aspic?
Yes.
Back in the day. And recipes are coming back for that now, so that's even an option for people.
Yeah, especially if you have to do liquids, they're okay because they have more flavor than regular. I am not a Jell-O or Kool-Aid person.
Right.
Jennifer suffered as a child because I wouldn't make Jell-O for them.
I know. I was so deprived.
I really hated that. And, it was just a thing that I didn't like. And my folks didn't allow me to have Kool-Aid. I was an only child. And a whole package of Kool-Aid made a gallon.
Right.
And that would take me a week to drink it. So, no, Mom was not going to waste her money on Kool-Aid and sugar for me, which was good.
Right.
But, you think today, well, you can get the individual packages and everything, but I shy away from and I will eat Jell-O because I did eat Jell-O during my surgery time because I had to have something.
Well, what's really fun though is learning to make your own so that you don't have to do, especially if you're on, like me, somebody who's on like a natural foods diet, it's really fun to find the fruit juices and stuff like that to make your own.
Make them different.
Yeah, exactly. And instead of having like plain old bright red cherry or orange gelatin, you can use white grape juice, or you can use cranberry juice, or you can use, your favorite juice to make a gelatin.
As long as you're not having an issue with sugar.
Right.
And
and there are sugar-free juices out there. So.
Yeah. Well, sugar-free, apple juice that is sugar-free is going to have the apple sugar in it. And when it's concentrated, I still have an issue with that. But some people are going to. Yeah. And that's okay because there's a lot of sugar-free products that there weren't around even 10 years ago when I had the lap band surgery.
Yeah, exactly.
So we've come a long way. I think we're heading in the right direction by now putting recipes together for people. I think that it's learning the process is valuable. It is a process. Everything from the surgery to the living after is a process. It's something that is not a difficult process, but you do have to take. It's just like getting over the head hunger. It's getting your head around the fact that you don't want to go back.
Right. So, when you were on clear liquid diet, what was your favorite thing that you loved? And your least favorite thing?
I really like chicken broth, and I have a garlic herb mixture that I would put in my chicken broth. That was my favorite. My least favorite was probably the vanilla metabolic drink that it was so bad.
Oh my goodness.
And then the tomato soup. I can't. My husband, bless his heart, went on the liquid diet with me this last time because he knew it was such a painful thing. And he loved the tomato soup.
Well, he loves sodium. He loves salt.
Oh, it was just... But yeah, my least favorite. What was your least favorite?
Let's see. Well, my least favorite was, believe it, probably chicken broth. No, I enjoyed chicken broth. I think my favorite was bone broth. Yes, because it's just a little more rich and a little heartier, and it's really fortified with all of the the good stuff coming out of the bones and the So that was my favorite. I think on the clear liquids, I think my least favorite probably was the gelatin. Yeah, the gelatin, because it's just a textural thing. I didn't like it very much, but some people love it, and if you love Jell-O, then this is the diet for you.
I guess one of the other things that I missed the most was the chew factor.
Yes.
Because we are so cued into chewing, and they didn't really want us chewing gum or chewing anything.
Yeah.
And I just sometimes just needed to chew
something.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that was where for me anyway, when I did eat Jell-O, that was the reason. Was because I felt like I could kind of chew
get
it
a little chew.
Bit. Yeah.
Get a little chew to it. Yeah. I don't chew ice, but amazing enough, right after the surgery, I was chewing ice.
Oh.
Because I needed the chew, and I'm not a big ice chewer. But, those are just some of the things that we went through. I think one of the big changes was I was not hungry.
Yeah, that was something too for me, because I remember in the hospital when I had, got my tray and everything, they had there was tea and there was gelatin and there was broth and there was something else. And I remember I just didn't eat very much of it. And wrapping my head around that was it's like, really, I feel like I should be eating more. And, but then I found out later, of course, that it's normal, absolutely normal to not eat that much. And it's normal to eat everything too. So it just depends on the person.
Well, one of the things that I did was, I would get a cup of soup and I'd sip on it till it got lukewarm, and then I would set it aside and I'd go back and reheat it and sip on it later. I think because we were sipping rather than a meal.
Yes.
It kept us from being hungry. And, but I felt like there for the longest that I never stopped having something in my mouth. I was sipping on something constantly.
All the time. We were constantly sip, 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 walk, walk, walk. That was it for the first 2 weeks after surgery. Sip, 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 walk, walk, walk.
And the more we walk, the better. The gas. A lot of people have tremendous issues with the gas that they inflate you with. And I didn't have as much, but Jennifer.
I did. I hurt it was all up in my shoulders. Oh, it was terrible. I mean, that was the worst part of it. Everything else about this surgery has been a complete and utter breeze and just absolutely fantastic and beautiful. But that right there, I had to have Ronnie rub my shoulders, constantly, and getting up and walking, and that turned out being my full cue was that my shoulders would start to hurt, which I thought was really unusual, but that was my full cue.
And it was amazing. I know I had gas, but I didn't have it. I mean, I was passing. I became a little putt-putt machine.
TMI!
Well, we have to laugh about that. But, there's a lot of things that we sleevers discuss with humor because it has changed our body and our whole body functions. And so there's many things that if you have a question about, don't feel uncomfortable.
Always
because
ask.
There's a lot of things that,
I do know, there are, and that's not just a sleever issue though.
No.
That is across the board. If you have had bariatric surgery,
your intestines change.
Yes. And so that's good to know when somebody's looking into this. And
well, and in most cases, it is a change for the better.
Yeah. It really is. It really is a change for the better.
There are a few people who have issues prior to that don't have issues afterwards. There's people who have issues or don't have issues that have other things happen. But once you're on the program and you're eating your protein first,
yes,
and then eating your
vegetables
second, the body, it takes about 6-8 months for the body to actually transition
and to adjust.
And once it does, then all indications from everyone we've talked to is once it's adjusted, then you're pretty well a level point. You're not having to take medications for gas or for constipation or for acid indigestion.
But some people do. I mean, for example, I'm almost 2 years out and I still have reflux. Some people do and some people don't. It just depends. Again, it depends on your body.
And a lot of it too is the training. Training. Teaching yourself to take the small bites and continue with the small bites.
Yes.
Because if I eat too big a bite of anything, it causes gas.
And trying to stick within the 7 to 10 bites guideline as well. Like 3 to 4 bites of meat, 3 to 4 bites of vegetable, and then 1 to 2 bites of starch. And then if you're still hungry, go back for more protein.
Well, don't you find that here we are, you're a year and a half out, I'm a little over a year. Our bites are a little bigger.
Yeah, I have a really big problem with that. And I remember you talking about one time talking about the comfort bites.
The comfort bites.
And that's something I still to this day. In fact, yesterday we went out to dinner, and that was something that I caught myself doing, was taking those big comfort bites. And I was just like, what are you doing? That's just not smart.
It's something that we don't think about. And I guess I had a little bit of a head start because I'd had the band for 8 years.
Right.
And you become conscious of it once you can't do it. And I couldn't do it. I couldn't take a big bite and swallow it. Because if I took a big bite and tried to swallow it, it's going to come back up.
Yeah.
But so I was a little bit ahead of the game. But I see people will be out to eat or something. I see people take what I call the comfort bite. And I just sit there and I think, oh my gosh, if I did that, I would be embarrassing myself all over a restaurant.
And, I think that brings up a good point, too, as to why, again, we start off with the clear liquids, is because we're trying to retrain our bodies how to respond to food. And it starts off, our new tummies are like a baby's tummies. And you start off with the clear liquids. And when you can tolerate clear liquids, you start off with the full. And then when you can tolerate those, you go to the mushy stuff and then on to solids. And so, and just like with babies, babies don't take very big bites when they take their bites of food. In fact, they don't start to learn to take those big comfort bites until they get a lot bigger and a lot older. And so I think as bariatric patients, we can really learn a lot by watching the behavior of children when they eat.
Well, and something else. I remember Barbara, our PA at Dr. Veninga's office, telling us, you won't be able to chug-a-lug water. You just can't do it. And in the summer, when you get really hot, you turn that bottle
thirsty.
You turn a bottle of water up and take half of it at a time, and you can't do that. That's why the sipping is so important, is because your stomach just won't hold that amount of water.
It is so easy, and that again goes back to why the clear liquids, because especially in those first few days after surgery, it is so easy to get dehydrated. And so as long as you're on the clear liquids and you're consistently sipping on something, whether it be water or broth or tea, or, it keeps your body hydrated. And that's what kind of aids in the healing process as well.
Well, and I still struggle a little bit with the hydration. Yeah, I don't know if the camera will show it, but if you pinch your hand up and it stays up, you're hydrated. If it doesn't, if it won't even pinch up, like mine is difficult. I stay a little bit dehydrated.
I am dehydrated. Yeah. I mean, and you can also, and see, that's a problem that I have to work on for me, is going back to basics, going back to sipping all the time. And
cold weather is hard because you want to drink water, but you don't want to drink cold water.
Right. And I'm a coffee person, but coffee can irritate our tiny tummies. So during the winter, a really great idea is to keep hot teas around.
Right.
Herbal tea is, first of all, they're excellent for the body because, herbs are just natural antioxidants, natural antibiotics. They're just so good for you. And then they keep your body hydrated, and they also warm your body as well. So herbal tea is my saving grace. It was, especially during the first year, during the colder months, it was my saving grace.
And a lot of you'll notice on the show, we'll have a cup in our hands.
Yeah.
Because, sometimes we're on a set for 6 or 7 hours, and we have to keep drinking all the time. If we don't, our knees are going to collapse after a little while.
I know.
But I can do without food if I have something to drink.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. That's a good point.
And I know a lot of people who have gotten a year or 2 years into the program, and they're going, oh, well, I'm gaining weight or whatever. Just go back to the basics.
Go back to basics. Go back to what you started from.
Yeah.
And you don't necessarily have to go back all the way to clear liquids and go from there, but go back to what you learned in the beginning. Protein first, vegetable second, maybe a bite or two of starch after. And sip constantly. Always have a water bottle. I know many friends that have a water bottle on them at all times, and they're consistently sipping, and that's just what we all need to get into the habit of.
And a lot of men, especially who have the surgery, if they work outside or if they work in conditions where they may not be able to stop real quick, they need to carry a water bottle because in Texas in the summer, the heat is unbearable. And if they work in a warehouse situation, they need to be hydrated. And it's 6 ounces every 30 minutes if you're in heat over 80 degrees in Texas.
That's good information. I didn't know that.
Yeah, that came from our friend that's an EMT.
That's really good information.
We would be out in the watermelon patch, and she would say 6 ounces every 30 minutes. Yeah,
that's really good to know.
So, and I knew a gentleman who had lap band surgery and changed careers from working in a car dealership to going to work out as a welder. And the first day he was on the job, because he felt compelled to stay with what he was doing, he got dehydrated and had a heart attack and passed away. So this is something that's serious, very serious. Hydration is very important. That's why the liquids push the impurities out of your body. It's just, everything will work if you put enough water in.
Right. So just go back to basics. Drink your water.
Well, and new people who are even considering the surgery need to understand that hydration is the biggest important thing that they do.
Yeah, start now before while you're even thinking about it, even if you haven't chosen your surgery yet.
Right.
It's going to be across the board. You're going to have to drink a lot of water afterwards. So just start now.
Well,
start getting into the habit of sip, sip, sip.
Another thing, if you're in the habit of drinking water, it tends to cut your appetite. And I hear people say all the time, "Well, I don't like water." Well, there's water in different towns that does taste bad because
But there's a way to get around it. You can get water filters. You can get bottled water. I know people who will drink carbonated water all the time, and they'll watch this and get mad at me for saying this, but that's not water.
That's not water.
There's a lot of sodium. There's a lot of chemicals in there.
Yep.
That's not hydrating your body the way it should be. Plain water is what hydrates your body.
Well, and you have to be careful of sports drinks because a lot of those have sugar.
Sugar and sodium.
And I've been able to find a sports drink that I like that has no sugar in it, but that's a rare instance.
But something that you do have to watch too is, even with stuff like sports drinks and stuff, sweeteners such as aspartame actually dehydrate you.
Right.
That's why people who drink a lot of diet soda and flavored waters and things like that, they're just not keeping their body hydrated because the aspartame keeps them dehydrated.
Yeah, there's a lot of these add to a bottle of water things. And you have to be real conscious of what you're putting in the water.
Yeah, reading labels is so important.
There are new cups out now where you can put fresh fruit in an insert.
Oh, I love those. Those are so cute.
And they really, it gives you the fresh fruit taste of the water without...
and you can add anything in one of those little container things. You can put lemon. You can put, if you want a different kind of water, one that's really popular right now is taking cucumber and watermelon and putting it in there and flavoring your water like that. Or cucumber and cantaloupe.
Yeah.
And, so some of them are just weird, but, whatever you like, you can just shove in that little thing, and you don't have to rely on having to buy pink lemonade or tropical punch.
And then you can eat the fruit if you...
Exactly. You can go back and eat the fruit later if you can tolerate it.
But, there's lots of ideas out there. There's more basic cups and straws and things that we can use. It's just like with baby products. There's more things that are conducive to drinking fluids and being diet friendly.
Yeah, exactly. I had great water bottles that were similar to the bottled water bottles. And then, of course, sipper cups. Some doctors don't want you to use straws, so check with your doctor and nutritionist and make sure that a straw is okay for you. But if you can have a straw, those sipper cups with the straws are amazing.
Yeah. And I think that, too, all depends on the type of surgery that you have and the surgeon's experience with patients doing different things. So,
well, and it's important to remember that regardless, always follow your doctor's orders.
Right.
Because we're not doctors.
No.
We're not doctors. We're not nutritionists. All we can do is speak from experience.
That's exactly right.
And our experience may be different than what your doctor wants for you.
Exactly. And we want everybody to have a good experience.
Yep.
There are times when we do things that we question ourselves, and then we have to go back to basics.
Exactly. So when in doubt, let's go back to basics.
And always, you know, your doctors are there for a reason. They have the information that they want their patients to go by.
Yep.
Now, that brings up another subject of the support groups. And you need to go to a support group before your surgery. You need to go to one after your surgery. And there are people who go to support groups on a daily basis.
For some people, a support group is as important as AA.
Yeah. And when you are an addicted person to carbohydrates, an addiction is an addiction is an addiction.
That's right. Amen to that.
And bless your heart, I understand because I am one.
Yep.
And I fully understand the depth of addiction. And we have to work at it every day. That's why we're on here talking about it.
Right.
We're each other's support.
Yeah.
If we could,
and we hope that we're support for you guys as well.
That's true, because otherwise what we're doing would be all for nothing, and we really want to give the best information we can.
Right. Exactly. That's what we're here for. Well, thanks, guys, for being here. We hope that this was informative for you, and we hope this was helpful for you. This is the first in a series that we're going to be doing. Once a month, we're going to be having discussions just like this, and we would love for you guys to ask us any questions that you want, and we'll make sure that they get answered.
Any question.
Any question. There is no TMI in the world of bariatric surgery. Thank you, guys. Don't forget, if you like us, please click that little like button and also click that subscribe button as well. And if you like what we do, share us with everybody you know. And we'll make sure that we keep getting the information out there for you guys. Thank you so much for joining us on our journey.
Come back and see what else we're up to.